Good morning, everybody. Morning, Igor, Omar, Rhetorical, TOK, Akbar, Accidental, TH, Stephen, JH. Good morning. If you guys can remember to like the video, I'd very much appreciate it. Islam, good morning. Martin, Roberto, good morning. Let me get this to 30 likes real quick. Very much appreciate it. Manish Pandy, good morning. Love your videos. I appreciate you. I feel good today, boys. I feel good. Hey, I have a question. I always wondered, in what time frames do I look for SMT if I trade the 1 minute? We can look for SMT within a 1 minute time frame, but you utilize SMT intraday wise when you're reading the charts for entries, particularly on a 1 minute, 5 minute time frame. If you're utilizing SMT on higher time frames, that means that SMT is going to be a longer time SMT that's going to hold or be true. Same goes for lower time frames. If it's a lower time frame SMT, and if it's true, it may be only true for a small period of time. If you sit and watch my videos, especially live streams, I do point out SMT, and particularly if I'm looking intraday wise, I'm really looking at a 5 minute, a 15 minute, maybe a 1 minute intraday wise, like during the session, before I take a trade, something like that. That's what I'm referring to. The 6 more likes, we can get it to 30. 50 would be amazing. We'll get this thing started. I'm not very eager to trade today, I'll tell you that. Today, let me see, we have 10 a.m. news again, so we'll be waiting for that per usual. Yeah, I mean, it takes 2 seconds. Just like the video real quick. Just hop out of it, click the like button, and then you can go back to doing your thing. All right. So, where we're at currently, we've talked about this in depth over the last few days and last couple of weeks here, but this range in here, as you sit inside of consolidations, you're going to get basically price getting tighter and tighter into a smaller space, and the range gets smaller until eventually it breaks out of it. It's a typical formation and pattern within consolidations. Also, I have to keep repeating this every day so people don't forget. If you're in consolidations, A, that's very low probability. 2, if you are, I have to find my fib again. It disappeared on me. if you're within the equilibrium of that range, right? If you are sitting smack dab at EQ of that range within the consolidation, it's a very low probability area to be picking a lower time frame model or entry pattern or trying to call a particular setup. Why? Because if you have liquidity on both sides of you, then it's very hard to determine a narrative or a bias as far as what price wants to gravitate towards. Does it want to go higher or does it want to go lower? I don't know. And I'm okay with not knowing. I don't need to know. It doesn't make me a better analyst. I don't need to stroke my ego and try to figure out how to perfect that idea. The smarter, big-brained idea would just say, look, I'm not going to trade this. I'm not going to do anything with it. And let price prove itself to me rather than forcing an idea on it and gambling on the idea of it. That to me is much smarter, right? That's a smarter game plan than forcing the idea. And that's what a lot of my younger self experiences were in these ranges, was forcing. And you know, this can stay in here indefinitely if it wanted to. It doesn't ever have to break out of it. Will it? More than likely, yes. Probably pretty soon. I don't know when. But that's the idea, is you don't know when it's going to break out. I don't know which side it's going to gravitate towards. I can have ideas and I can analyze it with certain confluences like intermarket relationships and S&T and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, we don't know. I'd say the formations and everything we've had over the last couple of weeks with the opening range, liquidity voids we've had, it's really ugly in here. It's really, really ugly. I don't care what anybody else says. This is very ugly. So what does that mean? It just means that it's low probability. Because 1 second this could be going higher and it could immediately drop lower. Your models are going to fail. You're going to be seduced into certain areas. Does that mean I can't take a trade? No, but I'm very aware that the probability of it working is not very high. So I would probably need like a short-term run to a draw liquidity that I could see within a certain macro of time with a clear model, and that would probably be it. It wouldn't be long ranges. It would be very short scalps, in and out. That's it. That would be the only thing I'd be willing to do, if that. I'm not even advising to do that. And you can see yesterday, I just held firm on that. I didn't do anything with it, and I'm very happy I didn't. There wasn't much with yesterday. I mean, some people might have caught longs, and that's awesome. That's great. I don't care personally, because I saved my mental capital. That's all dog shit price action to me. I don't want to spend my mental capital doing it, and I'll just wait. I'd rather have patience and wait for something. If you were able to compare all the times that you have a really good model that has sound logic, that has a backing of a framework of narrative and a bias, and there's many confluences surrounding it, why wouldn't you rather just choose that one? Why would you rather just, it comes down to standards in terms of like even picking your partner, your spouse. You know, you wouldn't just sleep with, I know guys, I mean, you just wouldn't sleep with the two just because, you know, I mean, I know some people would, depends if you're drunk, but some people to get, you know, drunk off of profits or get drunk off of the idea of making money, and that's why they go into these markets with low standards and they have low you know, rule sets for their models and the things they want to engage with, rather than having high standards and waiting for good conditions and the right setting to actually do something with it, right? That's the way I think about it. It's like, well, why would I just drop my standards just because the conditions changed? You know, that's like somebody on a dry spell that hasn't been laid in a long time or doesn't, you know, interact with women. You don't just drink poison just because you're thirsty. You know, I don't just want to trade just because it's here and I'm sitting in front of charts. That's stupid, right? So hopefully it makes sense. I mean, I have to like advise this every single time I do basically the prep for the day, because I know I'm going to get 100 questions over it. As far as what I'm looking at, I'm already aware of today. I'm already aware that today's low probability. Does that not mean that things won't work and things won't draw to a certain area? Of course not. But it also means I don't trust it. And if I don't trust it, then that means that it's going to be hard for me to be willingly engage with it and risk money. Make sense? What do we have today as well? We have a 10 a.m. news event driver as well. So same protocol we've had the last 3 days. Waiting for the news event driver. Maybe boring. maybe like, man, I just want to do something. This is where, to me, if you have the patience to wait for conditions to open themselves up, you're going to find success. If you can limit your risk, you can have capital preservation, you can have patience, sit on your hands, man, you're going to find success. But I know everybody else on Twitter and social media telling you you could trade every single second of every single day, and even ICT showcasing it. I don't believe in that mindset. I don't think it's necessary. If that's your style, of course, by all means do it, but that's not me. So hopefully it's clear to everybody. I will mark out the RTH. Thank you, Igor. So even on these lower time frames, you have relative equal highs, you have relative equal lows resting beneath you, and that's just on lower time frames. We've already discussed the higher time frame, how difficult that is, because I don't know with clear context and framework whether or not price wants to gravitate towards this sell side down here, or if it wants to go to this buy side up here. Much like the higher time frame, I don't know, because the higher time frame is unclear. Could I see, you know, how we've dropped down into this inversion for value gap, and we could send it into the upper quadrants here. All of that to me is it's just guessing. It's simply guessing. So that's where I'm at today. Hopefully it makes sense. I mean, 1 minute looks like shit going into the session. So all of this to me, it's not to complain or anything. It's just stating the conditions, and at least I'm aware of it going into it. If you don't know the conditions of what you're trying to trade, then obviously you're driving in there blind, man. You don't know whether or not to expect good conditions. I mean, I've sat down last week when we took that trade on, I don't know what day that was, Thursday of last week, and I said before the open, I said, this is some really good conditions. This is a day where I'm going to showcase this is really, really good. I can see the confluences, the biases, the price action aligning, the higher time frame narrative aligning. And guess what? We went into the session, I took the trade on the model, and it worked perfectly. Because with preparation meets opportunity, you're going to be rewarded. Not all the time, but if you know what the hell you're looking for, you know the conditions with experience, you should be knowing what to expect. If you're just tuning in, if you could like the video, I'd very much appreciate it, man. ES looks stronger. Yeah, it looks a little, I guess, more bullish. All this looks like absolute shit to me. I'm just being honest. I debated on trading the PM session today, or at least live streaming it, but I was up already. Not that I think the PM sessions would be better, but I'm just looking at this, it looks terrible. To be honest with you, I have to look at I know a lot of you love the daily logs. Man, I may stop them, to be honest with you. They're just not getting, I mean, I know I'm not a huge person about views, but to a certain extent I am. I'd rather use my time somewhere else. I'll see what else I can do as far as replacing those videos, but I've been doing those videos for so long, I may just take a break from doing them and replace them with something different. Yeah, I know you do. It's just, if you look at it, I mean, I got 129 views, 240 views. I mean, they're great informational videos. They're fantastic. I know. It's also me. I want to incorporate more time to journal at night. So I may just focus on myself. I don't, as far as those videos go. Get Mike closer. I can turn this up. How's this? Better? Yeah, YouTube algorithm screws me, man. What's this guy right here? Now again, a lot of these things, they can look very sound, but in these environments, they're not going to work very well. This is your bullish breaker here. Why? Because we've taken out the swing low. So you have a low, high, a lower low, then a higher high there. JH. Tarzago, the more content is always better, and all it takes is one stream, one video to pop off. Most definitely, yeah. I know, it's, I guess it's struggling for me at times just because I know the content is very good, but I guess it doesn't get the recognition it deserves, but it is what it is. There's a lot of shit in here that I don't have annotated because it's just so much, but we have a couple new day opening gaps, we have a previous new week opening gap, we have the liquidity void. It's very clustered in here. So that's another thing, is anytime you're just surrounding new week opening gaps, or whether it's current, previous, and you're just kind of sitting around it for multiple days, that means you're in a consolidated state. So we've been consolidated for obviously the last 3 days here. We haven't really moved away from the opening range. This looks uber suspect there. Trendline phantom. A lot of sell side resting there. Yes, took Asia highs while in Q. Not yet. Yeah. Again, I can't emphasize it enough. In these conditions, a lot of things are just like whatever really happens, whether it's S&P, whether something takes a low or high, whether there's a model, it's almost meaningless to me. I just don't. The trustworthiness in it is very, very little. These conditions are much like Medusa. They're just going to seduce you into doing things when they aren't actually really going to work, at least from my experience. So best thing to do is just either don't even look at the charts if you have an issue of over trading. I wouldn't even, if you know these conditions, if you can identify it like we did this morning, just don't touch it, man. Don't even show up to the charts. Wait till the day closes, see what happened. Didn't move outside of the range yet, or didn't give you some type of good move, and don't touch it. You have the whole rest of the year. Yeah, and even just to throw some things on here, by is it 10 or 11? 10 or 11 a.m. With NFP week, you should be already done for the week. So, I mean, we're approaching that pretty quickly. Learning to read the market with internals coupled with solid. How many screens do you have? I have 4. I have 2 wide screens in front of me, one to my right for SMT, and then I have YouTube and all comments and stuff to my left. Well, it's going to be to your right, but let's see what ICT said. Something about GBP USD. Tuesday, yesterday's first presented FEG, we drew down to that. It's pretty interesting. Igor, why didn't you remind me? I know you did. I just forgot to put it on. Opening range gap. There's a whole lot going on up in here. I'll take this away. Well, it looks like we've drawn up into about 50% or so of that opening range gap. I'm going to make this a different color. There's 25, 50, 75, 100. Yeah, we're still waiting for the news event driver even to observe price, really, in all reality. When are we going to get ICT in here, huh? When is the day that's going to ever happen? Now that, if that happens, I'm popping off. Well, I don't really know. I think he would have to shout me out. I don't think he likes me. No, I'm kidding. I don't know if he doesn't like me, or I don't think he knows who the hell I am. Might be too many tank tops, yeah. How do you have that open range, please? You mean the opening range gap here? Good morning, Harris. I hope you're well. Stephen, if you toggle this button over here, electronic trading hours to regular, I have a new week and new day opening gap that will highlight it. So that orange shaded box is the opening range gap. So that's yesterday's close to today's open. And that is the opening range gap there. So again, we filled in about 50% of it so far. This is all really, really ugly, man. Ugly. When do you review your trade journals? Every weekend you review all your trades of the week, or every month? Like, how do you do it? Benjamin, almost every day, I'm looking at, well, I review my trades, but then I'm also doing like a quick, if I can get it in, I'll do an extensive journal over the day. Yesterday I didn't take anything. I still want to journal it, but if I have to interact with the day, then I'm gonna have to sit down and actually journal the things that I did, thoughts, feelings, those type of things. Have you ever tried using black background? Yeah, I can't do it. I don't know what it is, Axon. I can't do it. Zahid, you looking extra crispy today. Thank you. So is this so far what we've engaged with? Is this something worth your mental capital to be a part of? Is this something that looks really fun? Accidental? Have you got a six-pack? Yeah. What are these questions? I just wear a white beater just because it's comfortable. I'm not dressing up to get on a live stream. What's the concept that changed your trading? That you're your biggest enemy, your biggest flaw, and none of these concepts will change your trading if you don't have a handle on yourself. Probably not the answer you wanted. It was the fair value gap. The first presented fair value gap changed my whole trading forever. It was the breaker. No. It was the Reaper, Breaker, Assassin, Creed, fair value gap. I don't know. Whatever people make names up for now. ES was higher than NQ. So yeah, I mean, even SMT in this environment, it doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I don't. Could that be a bearish divergence? Sure, but it's so low probability, man. But imagine you didn't prep like we did before the open and you didn't understand the environment. You would have been going into this session like, as usual, you should have some type of idea going into the session. Should this be a high probability day? Should I be anticipating, smooth delivery? What happened the day before? What range have we been in? Those type of things are very important. Because if you don't know what the hell you're supposed to be anticipating, then you're going to be driving blind. I mean, I went into the session knowing it's going to be low probability. At least I'm waiting for 10 a.m. at the very least. If that doesn't even play out, then I'm not even engaging with it. If that means today that I take one, or this week I take one trade, maybe NFP will change something because I'm not going to be trading tomorrow. If I don't take anything today, I may trade NFP after the math. And if I don't even trade then I took one trade this week. To me, that's a job well done. Especially if I'm seeing the technicals are not there, then there's no reason to be trading. A lot of sell side down here. About 2 or 3 minutes away from the news event driver, so we'll see what that does. get rid of that. So far, price broke that buy side imbalance. We came back up into it, treating it as an inversion. If you guys are just tuning in, or if you haven't already, take 1 second of time to like the video. Drop down into the first presented FEG here. Make note in this moment of time right here is if you look at NQ and ES together, they're very decoupled. ES has made a lower low, which is a SMT divergence, but they were doing something completely different. So we'll see if that's a bullish SMT and whether that holds true. I'm not really looking to engage with this today. We'll see. Whatever this news event driver does. So if you look underneath the low at 932, ES made a lower low while NQ failed to make it. So there's a little divergence right before that news event driver there. Dropped down into basically optimal trade entry. We swept higher. Does that mean we're going to see higher prices? I don't know. I mean, this could get really nasty today. I'm trying to really advise all of you to be so damn cautious of these conditions. Yeah. Well, just looking at the rules as far as the first presented FEG, I mean, that's this one here. That's the truest one. This one here. That's not true on micro. So micro's feed sometimes is a lot different, so you have to be aware of that. Example on a 1 minute immediate rebalance. So this could just be a sweep above buy side, and then do we drop lower? That I don't know. And it's okay not to know. I mean, I know some people freak out when they don't know what the hell price is doing. To me, that's an advantage. If I don't know what price is doing, it means not to do anything with it. If I can see multiple outcomes, multiple scenarios, then I'm not doing anything with it. What is going on with my Nightbot? It's got beef with you, Igor. So there's also bearish divergence at the highs here as well. We have NQ making a higher high while ES failed to make that, right? So let's see if we can run to the sell side here. 21,509. Maybe a little bit lower. If you look at your 15-minute, we've reacted off of the premium imbalance up here. What is this down close candle here? Bearish breaker there. Now, does that mean I'm going to be trading it? No. I really don't trust any of this because I can't tell if this is a run simply underneath sell side to run higher again, or if this is a actual true shift and displacement lower to go lower again. There's just too many variables in here because the higher time frame to me is unclear. Even lower time frames in here, there's just too many variables for me to be sure of a certain direction. I mean, I can just chance it and just say fuck it, you know. Is that smart? No. It's hard, especially looking at this. I mean, it's a sound model. This is a sound model within like a right framework and context, right? If I was in the understanding that the economic calendar was in agreement, again, you have to remember the rule set for end of P week should typically be done by technically now, because the delivery can get a little bit weary. If the higher time frame was clear, if I understood that price was actually really bearish, we were seeking a true draw on liquidity that was underneath us that I could frame with context. This is a great model with great sound logic. If there was great sound logic, you've taken buy side liquidity, you've dropped lower. There's a shift in market structure here with the bearish breaker. You have your inefficiency within it. You have a bearish divergence at the highs. That's a sound model, but a model alone means absolutely nothing, right? You have to have the reasoning as to why that model should work and why we should seek lower prices. Why should we go lower? Not because of the model, because of the higher time frame, because the agreements of time, the agreements of either other correlated assets. And this very well may work, but to me, I don't judge myself and say, well, you know, I should have taken that. No. Because I can't find the reasoning as to why we should draw down to these levels, right? I can't find the reasoning for it. Much like, again, I could make the same idea that we could still run higher and still run to draw on liquidity higher. So if there's an equal argument to it, then it's very difficult for me to execute on a model. I hope you all understand that. Models alone are just models, man. They're not an end-all be-all. You have to have the framework and the reasoning, and most importantly, the question why. Why should it work? Not just because it's a model. Not just because it looks nice. Jeff, why am I picking those lows when there's many other ones? It's a good question, I guess. Because they're all the swing lows, particularly, really. Each swing low that I'm picking out in here are basically dealing range lows to highs. So those are all the swing levels in terms of if I had to drag a fib, those are all the lows that I'd be picking. One thing, if I could get sponsored by Zyn, be perfect. George, yes, I have changed my mind. And the reason for that is because we filled in that liquidity void quite quickly, and after that, yesterday was showing just the price action is just not, it's not delivering the way I'd want it. It's just the structure, things just don't seem right. So, yes, I changed my mind as far as that. It's not to say this short won't work. The model's fine, but it's just the framework, man. It's. I'm not gonna lie. It's tempting not to take it, but I have to sit here and say, well, again, is this as far as standards? Like, yes, is it a sound model? There's some things in here that look really well, yes, but as far as the framework, is it really there, man? Is it really, really there? No, it's not, and I know it's not. So it's one of those, like, just sit back, relax, wait for that time when there is really sound logic. And it's not going to be today, obviously, but that's what makes it difficult. Pablo's, I don't think I have those here in the States. I mean, maybe here in the States, I don't know. I love how we're talking about nicotine. Nicotine's very good for cognitive focus and stuff like that. It actually has a lot of benefits for as far as mental. My buddy started using ALP nicotine, said he'll never back to Zen. Let me look that up. I was on Zyn before it was cool. I'm just gonna put that out there. Oh, I've seen that. Well, how many do you get? Let me see. I'll have to see that. Yeah, they're very good for, I mean, that's the reason why I have them while trading. I mean, they definitely call me. Weed is my mental focus, dabs for breakfast. You know, I used to be a stoner, but I stopped that years ago. I think that was for the best for me. Yeah, all this looks like shit, man. I mean, it looks like shit. You drink alcohol? Yeah, I do. I got you, Nikki. Yeah, you know, hate from me, man. I know plenty of people are extremely productive on it. I was productive on it. I think all that's just a facade. I mean, you could still be very productive on it. So, it's a bit of a wicked retracement. We've gotten fully up into that sell side imbalance, and we've kind of collapsed a little bit lower. It's just not worth the risk. Again, when we look at standards, like if you had to, you know, you could just get into something right now. You could just, you know, you could bang a 2 or 3, some chick, excuse the caution for children, but you could bang like a 2 or a 3, you know, she ain't good looking, but get the job done. Might give you an STD, or you can be patient, wait, and end up banging an 8, 9, 10, and just be patient. That's the way I look at it is, yes, do I see the model? Can I see how it could work? Yes, but it might give me an STD, which means a loss. It's just not worth it. Banging chicks represents self-teaching. I'm just being real. I mean, I know like 95% of my viewership is dudes. I mean, I know Sarah's in here, but she's chill. I don't even know if she's in here today. That clip will get you more followers. Honestly, I might too. Jake, that's another good one. Yeah, I mean that's another good reference. Like it actually is true. Like you may be drunk off of like profits, or you may be drunk off your emotions. Or you're not seeing things clearly. So this may look like a 10, but it's, you know, it's like a 5, man. It's like, buddy, you need to sober up. What's good, bro? What's your opinion on having trading as your source of main income? You need to have money stacked, saved away. That way you don't feel pressure to do, you know, you need to at least have at least a year to 2 years of money stacked away. Like if you did your finances, you know what your bills are. Have money stacked away. And you obviously need to have an account and a game plan to make X amount of percent each year to uphold that expenses and finances, and try to continuously grow that. You have reserves. Even having other sources of like residual income, like that's the reason why I do mentor. Like I'm just being real, because it does turn into a source of income. I know there's a lot of mentors out there, and people are scammers, and people that, you know, obviously don't know how to trade, and they use that as a main source of income. But like if you're somebody who actually knows how to trade, then go out there and put yourself out there and utilize that as a second source of income. I mean, that's the reason why I do it as well. I mean, just being real, if I'm able to provide value and be real about it, and people pay me for it, then it's another source of income that I can have along with trading. And that's the reason why I only live stream, because it's the clearest you can get to it. I mean, you can't hide anything. Drinking too much, issues outlined in the mental game of trading. Yeah, most definitely. Florida. Yeah, I just moved to Florida as well, so it's nice when it's 82 and sunny today, and back home it's 26 degrees. I'll tell you, it's very nice. Like, dude, next 15 days, all I see is 82 and sunny. Small little sell side imbalance here. Sure, we're gonna do this. Same here in Tampa, way better than KC and even Boulder. Yeah, it's night and day. I think, especially for like winter, man, seasonal depression is actually real. Like being stuck in a house all day, it's cloudy, you never see the sun. Like I called back home yesterday, called my parents, and everybody there is just miserable. Fuck that. No, thank you. You need the sun. Oh yeah. Again, this is such a good example. If I had to put a number one teaching out there, this would be it. I mean, this to me, if you're able to sit out of conditions like this and not be an idiot and blow your money in it, you're gonna do well. You have to know when these environments are likely and prone to exist and be able to sit through them. I shouldn't even, like, you shouldn't be sitting through this. Like, you should be able to just turn off the charts and walk away. Like, most of you should just boop, but stay on because you need viewership. I'm kidding. But these type of environments are very predictable. Sometimes they come out of nowhere. They're very blindsided. Some days it looks really, really clean. Forecast looks good, and then it gets cloudy and stormy. Some days I can see it from a mile away that this is likely to unfold. Oh, I have another cup of coffee. let's kind of scroll out to some higher time frames here. If I was just reading a 4 hour, we've gotten into this buy side imbalance. This could be a bull shorter block here. And again, there's a whole bunch of shit going on with new day opening gaps and new week, and there's a lot going on in this area. I would also kind of throw that in there as far as why I'm not really favoring this condition. Jake, exactly, yeah, and that's just experience. Jake said when you get good at reading price action, you can just tell by the candles something hard for newer traders because they want to go hard every day. And that is true. I mean, just experience pays, because you know through time and repetition like what good environments look like, the way certain candle formation structure looks like, whether or not something looks ripe, looks good to be trading. But I want all of you to journal this type of day, because that would be a loss. And this is why models are very useless. They're fucking useless. I can't emphasize that enough. You can know every single model, you can know every single PD array of ICTs, but if you do not understand why they should work, when they should work, the environments they should work in, then it's meaningless. It's useless. It can look like the most beautiful model in the world. Right before we got into this, I said, look at that model. It looks beautiful. But the conditions are not there for it to even work, because I can't find a reasoning, a why for it to even work. The why is much more important than the how. So you need to annotate that. If you're not, if that's just passing by you, then you're not doing the work. Another good clip for subscriber, yeah, most definitely. I gotta get my editor to push more content out. He's been slacking. That's another thing. I'm not very tech savvy as far as I know how to live stream and trade. That's also, as far as my heart being in things, like I really enjoyed things that I like doing. I don't like editing. I don't like pushing out like that type of content. It's just not me. I will have somebody else do it for me. But I hate all that shit. I just want to trade. Which I know it's a faulty of mine. That's the reason why I'm probably not as big as I could be. So I'll show you something. If this turns into an inversion, we can also flip that breaker. There's an inverse breaker. That's also a concept, the inverse breaker. It's not made up. It's true. Just many people don't know how to utilize it. This breaker will become inversed if we want to seek this high up here. Not saying we will. We may fall short and never even get to that high. I'm not going to be trading it. Just saying if you want to observe it for tape reading purposes, if this sell side imbalance turns into inversion, then we're going to be looking at that breaker as an inversion breaker as well. So SW, good question. All of the above. All of the above. And that's it, right? That's it. That's what you're looking for to understand. Firstly, should a model work? Why should it work? That's what you should be looking for. If all those things were out of the equation and you could find a clear drawn liquidity and then you see a clear model that prints, boom, that's what you want to execute on. So we want to observe as well as like this wick up here. Really long wicks that stick out like a sore thumb. like this type of wick here, you want to mark out all the quadrants and specifically the 50% of it. JH, most definitely. The only issue is like my editor knows trading. He knows these concepts. He's not very super well versed, but he's very well versed in at least these concepts. So I can tell him, all right, this is what I want. And he can even go in and say, all right, this is a good clip. This is what wouldn't be, because he knows. I mean, he's been trading alongside me. He's had some other things come up in life, but he knows what these concepts are and what would be a good clip. So that's the hard part with an editor. Because they need to know what the hell to clip. Like, I can have him just go through my whole live stream without even telling him, and he'd know what to clip. Have you even spent a season of your trading career not looking at the charts on days you think are going to be? Yeah, I've spent. There's plenty of days where I can roll over in my bed in the morning and be like, yeah, this is not a high probability condition. But I also think the pro of sitting here and, you know, forcing yourself to look at condition, forcing yourself to feel those emotions of like, I can see a model, I want to trade it. The part of me that wants to trade it, but I also know logically it's not a good model. Being able to discipline yourself like that is very good. Like, it's you're hardwiring something in you to sit still, not touch anything. I think a part of that's very good. But if you really just are super eager to do something, you can't get a hold on it, then obviously don't look at the charts if you already know. Where in Florida are you? Naples. I'm not going to give specific, but yeah. Some people are weird. But we're very Second Amendment friendly here, so fuck around and find out. So since we've gotten up above this, we'll see if that treats it as an inversion. The breaker in that old sell side imbalance. Nikki, yeah. So within all that is your down close candle, which is a bullish order block there. Don't want to see you get doxed. Yeah, I mean, if somebody really has the time to do all that, good luck. I also have a vector and a Glock 17 waiting. AVOM, how many days per week do you not trade at all? It just depends. Each week is different. It really is. It depends on the environment. It depends on what I'm looking at. If the week is really high probability, some weeks are like the framework's there, the narrative's there, and there's a model printing every single day. And I could trade every single day of a week like that. But most of the time I don't, because I don't want to expend all my mental capital. I know, especially during a really good week, I could probably trade every single day of the week. I've done it before where I've been profitable every single day of the week. But typically I have a profit goal, and if I meet that, then I'm done. You know, I don't need to push beyond that. Just depends on the environment. Every week is different. Every day is different. I don't think there's one set rule set. Down close candle here, bullish order block. You see the way we've came up in a 50% of that wick there. We've seen that retracement down into the bullish order block, into that inversion for value gap, into this down close candle, and into the inverse breaker, and now we're seeing a push away from it. This is all tape reading. I'm not looking to engage with it. Even if it traded this buy side, I don't sit there and go, well, I should have done that. No. That's just me reading price. What's the point of reading and thinking, oh, I could have got that long and had a right bias if you're not going to trade it? Like, I struggle with that asking generally. What's the point of it? The point of it is just simply to have pattern recognition. That's what you're aiming for, is pattern recognition. That's all tape reading is pattern recognition. As far as your question of like, well, you're struggling with, well, I could have made money on that. I could have done something with that. That goes with being right versus wrong as well. You can be right a lot of the times, but yet still lose money. That was this week on Monday. I was right on the overall analysis, but yet I still lost money. You could also be wrong on an overall idea. It doesn't play out, but you could still make money. The point of it is the detachment of outcome, really, and not being a part of every single move. If you're able to sit through a move, then you're able to reduce that fear of missing out all the time. Like, if I'm able to just sit here and say, look, we could draw to this high, but I'm not going to be a part of it, then what does that prevent me from doing? Well, it prevents me from doing dumb shit like I could have entered into here. I said that was a sound model. But the logic as to reasoning why it should go lower, I'm unsure of, so I don't want to participate in it. Same here. I could make the same logic that we could go to this high, but it could also end up failing and not work because of the surrounding outside of ideas that you can't see here on the 1 minute chart. It reduces your emotions. When you're able to sit there and read price and let it go to a draw on liquidity, but you don't have any emotion towards it, you start becoming detached from that outcome. You don't always have to feel like you have to trade every single move that you think is going to happen. If I traded every single move that I thought was going to be was going to happen, I would be so damn unprofitable, it'd be ridiculous. I think a lot of things all the time. I think, well, down here I could have made the idea. That was a thought. It could have, and if I traded that, it would have been a loss. But I stuck to what I knew it probably wasn't going to work. Same in here. I think we could draw to this high, but also at the same time we could not. Can you explain which liquidity is valid? Because I just took a short and hit my stop loss. I'm so confused on how to find bias. Mollify, I would go back throughout the entire live stream and go back to the exact short and framework of what I was pointing out, and you'll figure it out. A lot of these things won't make sense, I think, to a newer student. And it's not to like diss any of you. I think through time and experience, may show its fruits. Bullish, no shorts. See, well, that's not, to me, that's not an answer to the question that he's asking. I mean, we described as to why that shouldn't work. Macro will show something. Yeah, I think the macro will probably show something. What's this up close candle here? Mitigation. Block. Down close candles inside of it would be a bullish order block there. No, not a breaker. In order for this to be a breaker, you would have to have the pattern like this, where you're sweeping a high and then making a lower low. This is just a continuation. But there's no swing low beneath it. There's no swing low. You can't consider it a breaker, it's not. I'm just being honest. They're two distinctly different patterns. Breakers and mitigation, they're two completely different patterns. If we seek higher prices, you want to look for the last, I mean, opening range gap is basically filled in, but last little portion there can get filled in. Do. Sorry, I'm watching something else. JH, later, brother. If you guys didn't do anything today, pat yourself on the back. You did a fantastic job. Nikki, adios. I just want to watch the macro does, and then I'm gonna head out of here. Jake, most definitely. All the things you're doing right now is from ICT 2022 mentorship. No, it is not. It's from being 5 years with them. 6 years, actually, really. I was long before 2022 mentorship, long before everybody else started to find out about them. Jake, I love the analogy. You're very, very correct on that. George, I mean, we'll see. Probably not. I mean, tomorrow's going to be really, really low probability. we're just getting inside of the macro, so we'll see what that does. I mean, we could just easily fall right back into this range. Fail to ever get to this high up here. Days like this, even so far that we've done, man, this is a journal you need to be like, look, if I didn't do anything with this day, man, what a great fucking job. Well done, man. Well done. Most people won't tell you that. Most people, or at least yourself, you won't tell you that because you didn't make any money, but you're preserving your capital. You're doing the right thing on a condition where this is not right. You shouldn't be doing anything with it. I'm saving myself mental capital, the stress, the anxiety. I'm saving my actual capital so I can use it in a good time. Rather than just blowing it in just dog shit, low standard conditions. There's no reason to do it. You know better. And obviously some people don't. They're newer. But if you know the information that I've discussed and what we've gone over and you are already thinking this, then you shouldn't be doing anything with it. What are your thoughts on an early live stream Friday after NFP? You mentioned that earlier. Well, I plan on doing it. Maybe today it was like the early morning session, but I didn't really see anything panning out before the session. No, Friday on NFP, I'm actually keen to be, I'm excited to trade NFP. We'll see. NFP can be very, very clean. Sometimes it can be a bit wicked. But basically a silver bullet after NFP can be very clean. So I'll be live streaming that. Irios, sure, man. Nice, no? Give this 5 more minutes and I'm hopping off. So let's see if we can trade to this high up here. Drop down into the mean threshold and mitigation block. And we'll see if we can expand away from it. You see ICD open a Telegram, like a bit cringe, isn't it? I mean, I really don't care. Yeah, I think that might be it for me. I'm very, very happy with the session. Very, very happy. Absolutely nothing spent. Able to sit through all of this and do nothing. That's something very good. So that's going to be it for me today. I'm not going to be live streaming tomorrow, but I'll be back on Friday for NFP. So, till then, take care, everybody. Have a good day. Adios.